Just got a text message from Vanessa Hughes at the Sunset Grill. We're back here in Big Ambitions, of course, and it says my request for gold health insurance has not been met. Terry Hammond has promised to provide it. If I go work for them, I will wait 72 hours to see if anything changes. Otherwise, I will be leaving the Sunset Grill. These people, I tell you what, ungrateful, right? I'm giving them $42 an hour to serve hot dogs and fries to people in Industry City. And they want more. They just want more. Gold health insurance. Satisfaction. I'm about to let her leave. You know? I think I'm going to let her leave. But let's just go see who Terry Hammond is. Right? See what this guy thinks he can. Look, he's in 13th place. And what business is he going to recruit you to? Is it the fast food restaurant, Lucas Pizza? This is in Industry City, too. What is this place? Hold on. You got a pizza place in Industry City now? Huh? Are you competing with me, sir? I bet you got a 30, don't you? I bet you do right here. Yep. That is a 30 building. Ooh. Terry Hammond. I might be taking over your Lucas Pizza here. Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be amazing? All right, hear me out. All right, look. Terry poaches my employee to Lucas Pizza. As soon as they leave, I buy Lucas Pizza. I got her back, and then I still don't give her the insurance. I know, I'm a heartless bastard. Welcome back to Big Ambitions. I hope you're having a great day today. So we have some alerts over here, of course. That's just because of the middle finger. And that's going to get fixed, I'm hoping, tomorrow, Monday. That's when the all the stuff happens, is Monday. And then we'll have jewelry and all these things. We're up to $1.5 million, okay? And today I wanted to investigate, just to humor the idea of getting going with a factory, okay? I want to take a look at a factory and see what it's going to take to do it, right? Now, we've already talked about these things. I'm not going to repeat myself, but again, the factory is a really high expense, and we want to try to focus on something we can't get. I think there's a case to be made that having a small factory is, even a small factory is okay as long as you're producing something that you can't get any other way. In my opinion, in this game, a factory serves two purposes. The first purpose is to provide resilience against market forces and shortages and, you know, wholesalers being sold out and things like that, right? It provides you with resilience against events that are outside of your control, external forces outside of your control, all right? The second thing it does, though, is it can give you access to things that you can't import, like the really high-end jewelry and stuff, and the really high-end phones and such. If you want to get access to that kinds of stuff, you can produce it yourself in your own factories. It just takes a lot of money to do. So I wanted to investigate that today. Maybe look at it from the point of view of trying to get access to produce our own electronics and jewelry. Since we are going into that, albeit it's at, you know, the garment district, but since we're going into that, and I want to obviously stick it to Ingrid, I need to get access to the stuff that she's selling, because she's selling this other stuff that I can't sell. So I can't really compete with her for example, the Zoneman phones. I can't compete with her because I don't have them. So in order to get them, we're going to try to manufacture them. So to do that, we're going to drive over to Industry City, as you can see I am currently doing. I'm not going to have Lucas Pizza. But actually our destination is closer to familiar territory over by the wholesaler. And what we're going to be going to is the factory supply depot, which I did not even check ahead of time if they're open on Sunday. Probably should have done that. Okay, they are. They close in 10 hours. So we're going to go head on over here. And this is not a tutorial on factories. I have been asked, and I have thought of creating tutorial videos on this game because I have a lot of experience in it. I know sometimes You guys say, hey, wait a minute. How does he not know the simple things? That's more forgetting in the moment, not so much like never knowing it in the first place, right? You know, I play a lot of games at a time, so I have very limited. I joke and say that my hard drive is constantly full, so I'm usually deleting things that don't matter as much to me, you know, in my head. So that's the joke anyway. Is this parking? It is legal free parking in Industry City. Well, howdy do. Okay, so in the factory depot, we're gonna walk in here, and there's a whole bunch of really expensive machines. All right, you can get a feel for just how expensive this stuff really is. And we'll grab a car or flatbed, but I'm not sure we're really gonna buy anything. I think actually we're not gonna buy anything here. Instead, we're gonna order it over the phone because it's just better to do that. So before I forget and walk out of here without doing it, let's go talk to the store manager real quick. That adds it to our book, and now we'll be able to call them and get deliveries. Okay, look at all these machines. All right, conveyor food grill, $25,000. Right, automated frying machine. Can you guess what that does? $17,500. Food cutting machine is $10,000. The food assembly machine is $35,000. Consumer goods assembly is $120,000 for just that machine. $120K. Okay. And we're going to have to set up factories with many of these machines occupying a large warehouse just to facilitate a supply chain to replace bringing them in on the boats, which like maybe saves us 40% per product, right? Which over time definitely is worth it. But this kind of investment takes years in game to really pay itself off. And these machines, not all of them, but these machines also need workers. So you're paying wages into these things as well. And factories and such are also expensive to start up as well. There's a bottling machine here. There's an industrial sewing machine, polishing. And then over here we have the tobacco rolling machine and a kiln. Okay. Now, if we want to know what the recipes are for these types of things, you're going to go up to the help menu for this. All right. And what you want to do is just type in the product that you want to make. So, for example, if I wanted to make hot dogs, okay, just type in there's a hot dog recipe here. And it's going to give you need 3 ingredients: dough, raw sausage, and a bag of tomatoes. Because when you produce hot dogs, you're apparently making the ketchup for them too, and the buns. So the required factory machines that we would need is you need an input station and an output station. Input is for 1 ingredient input. Since we have 3 ingredients, we're going to need 3 ingredient outputs. Or 3 ingredient input stations, okay? So we need 3 of those input stations. Input stations are over here at the door, and they're $10,000 a piece. So I need 3 of these just for hot dogs, right? And then there's an output station here, also $10,000. So there's already $40,000 worth of machines in just the input output. That doesn't include the conveyor belts, which are $3,500 a pop. And in addition to that, we also need an automated baking machine because we need the dough to be baked into the buns. Then you need the conveyor food grill because you need to take the raw sausage and bring it in and actually, cook it to get grilled sausage. And then you need the industrial blending machine to take the bag of tomatoes and blend it all up so that you have ketchup. Then all of those things need to be put into the food assembly machine, which is this thing here, $35,000. You put the 3 ingredients in there and output 1, right? And then that's what goes to the output. And then you are bottlenecked by how much you are outputting, depending on how much you're inputting and how many of these output stations you have. And there's ratios to that. It's a factory, right? So, I mean, we're going to have several $100,000 invested on just getting hot dogs out. All right, if we were doing hot dogs in the example, right? For our purposes, wanting to produce something that makes a little bit more money for each, a little higher price stuff, perhaps we do expensive jewelry. So if I was going to make expensive jewelry, I need metal bands and uncut gems expensive. Okay? We're going to need a polishing machine. We're going to need a laser cutting machine, the input-output, of course, and then also that big, expensive $120,000 consumer goods assembly machine. Okay? We need those machines, and that's, again, just for expensive jewelry and only one output capacity for that. Potentially, we could fit several of these machines for one output station. It kind of depends on the output station's, how much it outputs per minute or whatever it is, right? So, in other words, very, very expensive. But it's the only way I can get that stuff. Let's see what I would need for... Is there any crossover with expensive electronics and stuff? Like, can I get the Zonoman phones, for example? So, Zonoman phone. So, this requires a lot of raw ingredients. So many output stations needed here. Our input. We need batteries, capacitors, copper-clad laminate. We need glass, integrated circuits, microphones, plastic, resistors, speakers, transistors. All of that stuff is going to go through laser cutting machines and kilns, and eventually it all winds up in consumer goods assembly machines, where it then kicks out output there too. It creates the audio modules, the circuit boards, molded smartphone, and the screens. And then those four things go into this to create the Zonoman phone. Right? So there's some real intricate stuff going on there. So if I was going to do that, I need the kiln. That's $175,000. Okay? We're getting real expensive here really quick if we want to make those phones. But considering I have $1.5 million, you might think, hey, you can afford it. But I haven't paid my taxes yet. So I don't know if I can afford it just yet. But I wanted to talk about what it would cost to do that stuff. And remember, we need staff on these machines as well. And that means they need to work in factories. Speaking of which, factories are also very expensive. Here's one right next to the store. Oh, it just happens to be available for rent. Big factory. This is a Q3 factory here. If you open it up in the business manager, that's going to be an $87,000 bill to get that started, with another $943 every day. And again, that doesn't include people. But it's a relatively large place. There's a huge amount of space there to work with. And there's two trucks in, I'm going to assume, to bring in the inputs and to take away the outputs, hauling them off to other warehouses, right? Lots of stuff to consider there. For a small factory, though, like if we want to just get started, I think making the jewelry could be a good way to just get started in that. The Zonoman phone has a lot of stuff going on. That's a really expensive startup cost. I think perhaps if we're going to dabble in factories, we should probably do something that's a little more simple, but still very useful. So I like the idea of going in and trying to get the expensive jewelry, because I can import cheap jewelry, but I can't import expensive jewelry. So I like the idea of trying this. Metal bands, uncut gems. Where do we get these raw ingredients from? Well, if I come over to the map, let's zoom all the way over here. We have this new docks area that didn't exist in our last playthrough. And there's 3 new importers here. The Lunar Tide Shipments, Aquatic Bay Cargo, and Maritime Freight Line. And these guys are the ones that have the raw resources for factories. Okay? So, and it's Maritime Freight Line is the one I'm going to be engaging with, because it just so happens Maritime Freight Line administers both all of the ingredients I need for the electronics and also the uncut gems that I require for jewelry. So like these guys take care of, it's one purchase agent for both of those types of things, and we can bring them in. So we're going to need the metal bands and then uncut gems expensive, right? So we need to get to Maritime Freight Line, and it is Sunday. They are closed anyway. So we will do that in the morning. Okay. Piece of cake. But I just needed to make sure I was over here so that I could tag up on that desk so that I can call them and have stuff delivered when I get a factory going. Where's the factory going to be? There are a lot of warehouses in this game, and any warehouse can be a factory, but some of them are better suited for it. They have just a much wide open floor plan that allows you to expand and have a much bigger factory. I wasn't paying attention, I'm sorry. I was looking over here, seeing if there was any alerts for other businesses, and 5 Cups is having something here. Our delivery's tomorrow, so we might want to up it. Let's see. So, a cup of coffee and a donut. Let's just see this really quick. So, cup of donuts, cup of coffee. Sorry. So I've got 11,000 as my target, and we have 8,300 in warehouse. So that's not the problem. That's not an import problem. So that's a logistics problem. So we're gonna come over to logistics, and not the middle finger. 5 Cups. 5 Cups. We're currently saying to keep 1,000. That's apparently too much. Or that's not enough. Really? Nice. That's sus. Let's go 1,400 there then. We have the capacity for it. What was the other thing that was low? Donuts. Really? Okay. Donuts. So here, donuts, 900 is apparently not enough. We'll go 1,200 there too. Okay. Apparently that didn't stick. 1,500. Yeah. There it goes. So hopefully that helps out a lot. I need to go this way and then do a really sharp turn. The wrong way on the street. Ugh. Just ruined my truck. What I actually wanted to do, I want to go check out that other restaurant if I can. Check out my competitor who's trying to poach my employees. He's over here, I think, right? Isn't he? I think he's over in a building over on this side. Where is he? Let's see. Isn't he? One of these, right? I forget. Here, let's do this. Where's he at? Oh, you know what? Screw it. We'll just do it this way. Rivals, Terry Hammond, Lucas Pizza. Yeah. Where is it? 556. That direction. Yeah. Let's go check out Lucas Pizza. See what the big deal is. Check out my competitor. We'll even park right here because I can. All right, Lucas Pizza. You've got an okay setup here, I guess. I kind of like how you've wrapped the counters. Got the fry machine really far to the customers, though. I think this is probably some kind of hazard here. A little bit of a risk. What about splashes on child? What if a child was to come over here and the grease splashes on him? I don't know. We're going to have to write that up. Yep. They're going to fail your inspection. I like the TV in the lobby, though. Interesting idea. Color scheme is cool. Pretty solid. Yeah, I like pretty much everything about this other than, the fact that you're competing with me and the safety risks associated with that fry machine. But, it is what it is. Just saying. I'm not wrong. You wouldn't want the fry machine right there. That's the bad spot for the fry machine to be. I'm just saying. It's a family restaurant. You're going to have kids. You got to think about these things, man. All right. So tomorrow, I'm hoping all this stuff goes away because logistics is already told to take care of all these things. Employees are already placed and scheduled, but we don't have the store open. So they've been real relentless and probably getting a little bit mad at me at this point. Satisfaction is, they're okay. HR does pretty well in kind of limiting that decline. HR is pretty good at doing that. If they're not being managed by HR, then they'll be dissatisfied faster. Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna get to sleep, and then we'll figure out whether or not we can afford this factory or not. How many days do I have left to pay my taxes? That's an important thing to know. I need the IRS. Yes. Please pay any outstanding taxes within day 140. Okay. Getting into a factory. If it's a small factory, I think it'll be okay because we're making a decent amount of money. The weekends are actually my worst time. Like this number goes like doubles. This number will basically double during the weekday. So for whatever reason, Saturdays are really bad for my businesses. I'm not sure why, but it just is. Sundays are a little bit better usually. But then you have to also factor in the fact that like we're about to spend what $400,000 on the import here. What do we got? $372,000 is coming from Bluestone. Another $181,000 from Jet Cargo. Yeah, we're getting big numbers here. $500,000 is about to leave my account anyway. You know, so if there's a time to set up a factory, if there's a time to start ordering big heavy machinery, that day, the day to do that is Tuesday. Okay, not Monday. The day is, if you're going to do it on Monday, as long as you do it after the purchase agents have done their thing, then maybe it's okay. But the day to do that is definitely not Sunday night. Okay, so we're gonna wait, and we'll figure out what factory we want to do it. Now that's our warehouse underneath the bridge, right? And so other warehouses that are available. Let's see. So warehouses that are available. Let's get rid of some of these things here. Where is it? Garment district gone. Okay, so we want warehouse right here. Okay, look at all those warehouses. So many warehouses. And they all have different design parameters too. H1 is not what we want for this. H1 is very small, and it's really, I mean, you're not going to get much factory going on in that. It's just too small. So we're going to avoid H1s. I1s are probably pretty good though. H2s would actually be fine. Did I find an H2? I2 is okay. I2 is okay. It's probably, I2 is probably a good middle ground for us, so I might actually go into that. 30,000, 321, not bad. Not bad for that one. I was looking for, see if there's an H2 somewhere, because that would probably be more affordable. Yeah, there it is. So H2 would be okay. It's got just one bay, but it's basically the same as the other one that we just did. The I has more trucks, but we're pretty limited on the number of stores we're going to have with electronics and jewelry. Like it's like we want it to be high volume, but it's not going to be high volume compared to a lot of other things. So it would be okay to have a factory with one truck, in my opinion, for that. But for the savings we're going to have for it, it's not worth the sacrifice. Like instead of 30,000, it's 5,000 cheaper. It's like $100 a month less rent, or $100 a day less rent. It's just not as good as the i2. You might as well go this one and get that extra truck bay. It's the same amount of space to work with. So we're probably going to do that one. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll set that destination just so I have it saved. And then we'll check out some of the other ones here. So there's an I1 here, which would be okay, but it's better for storage than it is for factories. So, and then you have like the really dedicated factory ones that are enormous. So all the way over here, there are some that have different colors. These ones here have different colors. They're a new layout, P2 and Q3. And these ones are designed to be used as factories. So you can see, again, huge costs, but they have space organized, big wide open spaces for the purposes of being a factory. This one being like the largest factory, I think, in the whole map. So like this whole area is open to you. It's enormous, but we don't need that, right? If we're going to start this, let's start it small. If I have to move, there's a moving service for that, right? We'd shut down our production for a little bit, but we'd move on I don't know what day we would move on. I guess if we're doing our own supply, it doesn't really matter, right? We're shipping every day. So we just get ourselves a big surplus, maybe, if possible. Of course, if we have a surplus, I don't know why we would have to move, because we're clearly, making enough of it. Maybe we're planning an expansion to open up another store in another neighborhood, and we want to double our production. That's something we could do. Build up a big surplus and then move all your stuff over in a couple of days. Organize things all over again. That's something we could do. I just blew right past my place. I was going to sleep at my apartment. Went right past it. It's okay. To find my place, it's actually quite easy. I just find the haircut place and turn down this road. And if I'm on the other street, then I'm finding 5 cups, because this is a straight line. All my stuff is all in the same place. So it's either 5 cups on 5th or the haircut place on 4th. And then my place is right here. There's normally parking, though. I'm a little bit surprised to see there's basically no parking here. Okay. We'll just try to weave ourselves right in here. We got it. Got it. If I wasn't driving with a keyboard, like, it's all or nothing, man. The pedal goes all the way to the floor repetitively. And I am tired. Look at this guy. He is... Oh boy, he's very exhausted. He's gonna get in there. Come on now, get over there. Okay, so this is Monday. We're going to zip to delivery time. So right about here. All right. Vincent's once again telling us that things can't be delivered, but I feel like that's just not true anymore. Once the shipments come in, now we're down to 900,000. It was so expensive. But now all this stuff can be delivered. And again, it's like logistics should have ran after the delivery, not before, but it is what it is. So we have more people wanting silver health insurance, more that want gold. And then Vincent just, every time I get a text from Vincent, I hate it. Just stop texting me, Vincent, because it always means that I'm short something. All right. All that's going to go away in one more day, though. It's not a huge deal. All right, we're going to go there. And Vanessa just resigned because I didn't give her the insurance. Yeah, exactly. But it's Wednesday now, and all these things just crossed off. Everything's fine now. I feel good. Vanessa quit, and that means there's nobody actually working at Sunset Grill right now, so I need to replace her. Now, luckily, well, at least I think so, the headhunter should be replacing her, right? Automatic replacement when they resign. That's what I asked for. And yet, I don't think that's actually happening because I think the headhunter automatically replace all employees. I think Vanessa was not with one of these two. And that's why that didn't happen. Because I need another headhunter to fit the other HR managers. Okay, fine. So all we're gonna do is go over to employees, and we're gonna find primary skill. There it is. Candidates. That's what I want. I knew I was messing up. All right, so we got a lot of job board people, which isn't great, but there's a 36%er here. And you know what I like about this 36%er? Nothing, actually. They don't have what I want. Silver insurance, no weekends, no. I mean, they have so many demands for being just job board people. Fine, we'll go and get the headhunter to do it. So you're searching for lawyers right now. I'm gonna have you stop this. Search for customer service instead, and we'll just do this. Okay, just do. Yeah, whatever. Just do that. Okay. And then I think probably need to look to maybe hire another headhunter, I guess, because we're going to start expanding pretty quickly here. In the meantime, while we're looking for Vanessa's replacement, which is fine because she didn't work today anyway. She wasn't even scheduled today anyway. We're going to get a look at our new middle finger, which is having its grand opening right now on this wonderful rainy day. So I have people here that are in nice clothes, okay? Yep. How about a uniform, maybe? Excuse me. They're in nice clothes. What do you mean? I think you're just silly. Unless you're talking about me. All right. Now, I left the walls the way they are. I left the floor the way they are. I could change that, but... Oh, you know what? It's this person. I have people moving furniture above my head. Did you hear that? No, that wasn't my... I can't do anything about that. So, middle finger here, and then... I need to go to settings. It's this. Cleaning. We need to put you on just clean. Where's the clean? Default? Didn't I have a cleaning thing? You know what? CS blue is fine for you. I thought I had a cleaning uniform. And then the security guards also get our security outfits as well. So now we're going to have security people. There we go. That's a security person. And they got the vests and the hat and the dark shoes and everything, right? There we go. Yeah, you take your merchandise into the bathroom. Absolutely, that's what we want to see. Just take it right on in there. So we have cheap jewelry, ready to sell that stuff. We got the expensive gifts here. The expensive flowers are here. And then we have 3 tables of Rhythm by Trey headphones and 3 tables of the Noise Bose earbuds. And I'm going to do this because I can. We're going to get myself some earbuds. Yeah, I'm going to buy it from my own store. There we go. And it's going to cost me $0 because they're mine now. So now I have it. I will equip them. And now I get to just walk around and listen to music and it's all seamless, and it never stops. We won't have music stopping. Isn't that great? Same volume. I think that's neat. And it's this stuff up here. We can turn it on or off if you want our character to visually have it. It's not really a big deal. That was equipping, so I just unequipped it. I wonder what happens if I unequip it in the car. What happens? If I unequip it in the car, is it in storage? No, it's a paper bag. Yeah, there it is. Okay. All right. I was just curious on what happened there. It's something I wanted to figure out. You figured it out. All right. Got it. So anyway, the middle finger. There you go, Ingrid. It's open. Open just for you. Now, I think I'm kind of tempted to pay my taxes before we do the whole factory thing, because I'm not confident that I can make back 1.2 million in the 11 days. I probably can, but the factory costs a lot of money. And I think I'd rather just pay the taxes, to be honest. I have a total of 1.249 million. And I owe how much? 1.265. So I can pay the whole bill tomorrow. Okay. So I think I'm going to do that. And then we'll talk about factories from there. Because it's going to take a little bit. So I think probably a few days need to go by. And then, although, if I invest in the factory now, with the extra I could make from the expensive stuff that I can have in stock, it could be worth it, right? Right? Do we risk it? Do we say, screw you, government? I think maybe we do say, screw you, government. If you're wondering what happens if you don't pay your taxes on time, they start repossessing your property. And you don't necessarily get to choose which ones they take. But I like the idea of maybe just getting that I-2 that was over there. This one here. I like it. Now, I don't know whether logistically it matters if the warehouse that's manufacturing it is close to this, but I think in general, you will pay less for the storage and pay less for the warehouse if you do it in Garment District. So perhaps there is an H2 or an I2 over here that's a little cheaper than Manhattan. It doesn't look like it, though. Everything's I1. Of course it is. They took all the good spots of that, too, didn't they? Not this. Yep, they sure did. All right, so basically I have only very small warehouses available in those places anyway. Here's this one here. What is this one going to cost me? Way more. All right, I think we're going to take this one. This one seems like a good fit for me. And if we rent this, then we get the delivery of the stuff, yeah? Let's just do it. Let's not care about the government. Let's just do it right now. If I really, really need that extra, I'll take a loan to pay my taxes. It's fine. So we'll start a business, and we're going to say factory. And this is just going to be, I think, why don't we go with luxury manufacturing, Inc. Luxury manufacturing. I was going to say incorporated, but how about we do this? We could say Luxman Incorporated. Luxman Inc. Okay, which just means luxury manufacturing, but it's Luxman Inc. Okay, so what we need are output stations. All right, requires employees with factory worker skill. The machine is required to complete any production pathway, the conveyor belts to connect, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is order from Factory Supply Depot. Luckily, I've already been there, so I can call them on my telephone and say, hey, guys, where is it? Factory Supply Depot. Hey, guys, would you mind making a big delivery to Luxman Incorporated, please? Yes, tomorrow at your earliest convenience. And now we need to figure out what machines we need. All right, now we have to go back, I think, to the help menu to really know that. So let's get a refresher on what that is. So I need to go, let's say the expensive jewelry is where we want to start. So we need a polishing machine, a consumer goods assembly machine, and a laser cutting machine. And we're going to need 2 inputs because we have 2 ingredient inputs. I don't know whether we're going to need, you know, the different ratios on the different machines and stuff, right? Like the polishing machine, for example, it polishes the gems. and then the laser cutting machine will cut them. So I think what has to happen here is oh, it doesn't cut them. Wait. Oh, yes, it does. Okay. So first what's going to happen is the uncut gems are going to go from the input machine through the laser cutter. Then the laser cutter sends them to the polisher, and the polisher will send them to the consumer goods, and that's where also the metal band is inserted too. I believe that's how that's going to go. So given that that's probably how that's going to go, and just double checking here. So metal band is going to go through yeah, it goes directly to there. Okay, so how we want to do this then, it depends on the volume that we want, right, too. That's the thing. I don't know what kind of volume they're going to make because I haven't done this before. I'm doing factories with you. I understand how they work, but I'm doing them with you blind-ish, you know? So, like, I've never seen them on my own save working. So we can, I might make mistakes, and that's okay. That's part of the cool experience that I like having here on YouTube, is making mistakes too. But this is an element of the game that I am not an expert on. So yeah, here we go. So we're going to take probably, I don't know, let's say, I don't think we're going to need this many, but let's just get 10 conveyor belts, okay? Then we're going to say we want a consumer goods assembly machine. I'm hoping we don't need 2 of those. Then we're going to need a laser cutter. We need 3. We know we need at least 2 input stations. So 2 input stations and then the output station. Okay. Laser cutting machine is $280,000 because of course it is. And is that it? No, the polishing machine. $235,000 because of course it is. Holy crap. That's expensive. I don't know if I need pallets or shelves or what kinds of shelves I need. Let's maybe get like 4 pallets. And do I need these even? If I don't need them in the warehouse, then I'll yeah, I mean they're here in the factory supply depot, so they might have a function in the factory is what I'm thinking. So we're gonna get 4 of each of these just in case we need them. I don't know if we're gonna need the wall lights. It seems like probably not. So polishing, laser cutting, output, consumer goods machine. This is the bare, we're basically ordering the bare minimum. I don't think there's a reason to have a splitter because my resources are not being split. So I don't think I need that yet. So this is $715,000. Okay. That's the largest order I've ever had. That's larger than any import from the docks. Like the last import we just had a couple days ago. That was huge, and that was also smaller than this. So, yeah. Oh my goodness. All right, cool. Well, that's our factory over there, Luxman Incorporated, and that's where we're going to produce our luxury goods, which basically I'm going to focus it on. To start, we're going to focus it on expensive jewelry because that's necessary. Now, before we can do that, though, we need to go down to the docks while they're still open, and we need to go to maritime freight. So let's do that. I have a spare purchase agent that I've already hired, so I can just assign them to this task. I don't need to wait for a purchase agent, because I knew I was going to be doing this, so I figured, might as well get them in a seat. That said, I have been paying them for about 6 days now to do nothing. I was a little bit fast on the hire there, but whatever. So this is the new area. And we're just going to pull right up in here. Why not? Yep. They even charge you to park. They charge you to park in their lot. Isn't that great? Okay then, Mr. Import Manager. Yes, a new partnership with you with Albert Ferreira. Yeah. So all we're going to be importing here, which takes place on Monday. The only thing we're going to be importing here is expensive gems and the metal bands. I don't know how many we need, but if you notice, it's 59 cents each. We're going to send this to Luxman Incorporated. Expensive Luxman Incorporated. So the uncut expensive gems are $438 each. Ouch. So if I want 1,000 of them, that's, $438.75 thousand of them. Yikes. let's get 1,000 on the metal bands as well. Cool, I guess. Sure, we'll do smart delivery, repeating order, I guess. Keep them in stock. I don't think I need a repeating order quite this big. Let's start this off at 500. All right, I'm gonna go and keep it at 500 because as we make things, right, as we produce them, the supply, like, this is unlike anything else. This is unlike any of the other products we've had for logistics before, right? Because as we produce a product to sell, the supply here goes down as the supply of what we want goes up. So this is about how many raw materials do you want at the start of the week, not how many, the luxury stuff do we want, right? How many end result products? I think 500 each here is an okay thing to start with to get my feet wet in this. 219,000 additional dollars. So effectively, no, not effectively, literally over $900,000. And then if you count the deposit on the warehouse and the daily charge for it by the time it gets to Monday, I think you put all those things together, this is a $1 million operation already. So, yeah. Like I said, factories. This is not something that you do at the beginning of the game. Factories are end game. And I'm not even entirely sure I'm at the stage of the game yet where I should be doing this. But I want to get into jewelry to take down Ingrid because her main income source is jewelry, electronics, and clothing. I'm not in any of those industries. I can't really take her down unless I'm in those industries, unless I buy her out. But even if I buy her out, I can't get profit from the business I bought because I don't have supply chain to keep them supplied, right? So, yeah, I need something there. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, well, we'll wait for that to happen. I'll be right back. All right, so this is delivery time for us. I'm parked right here outside of our new factory. This is Luxman Incorporated. $715,000 was taken out of my account. And here we are. This is the stuff. This right here was $715,000. So why don't we start by placing some pallet shelves just so we can get a feel for where they're even going to go. It looks like they're going to have to maybe I'll put them right up against the railing like this. Probably going to have to move some of these things. So this hand truck, we'll just place this over by the door is what I'm hoping for. Can I not place it right there? No? Okay, well, we're going to stick it right in here then. This right here can go right up in there too. I just want you guys to not be in the way. This one comes with a flatbed. That's nice. I might put that right here for a second. And then the delivery spot, we're just going to move it out of the way real quick. Okay, so let's take the pallet shelves. We'll place them down over here. I don't know if people actually have to access it. Like, they may actually have to access it now, but, I mean, like right where the triangles are. So I don't think I can put them here. I don't know. We'll see. And then we have the input stations. We need 2 input stations. That's what this looks like right here. So I don't know exactly where they got to go. Oh, okay. I see it. So if there's the footprints, the green footprints, that's where your people are going to stand when they're staffed. So there's got to be room for them to stay, to staff there, to sit there. So I'm going to say probably here. Seems to be enough space there. And then the other input station we can place right next to it, I guess. So we'll put that, right next to it. Sure. Okay. And then let's move this over so we can kind of have it with us. All right, so in each of these, we're going to say that this one here, this is going to be the metals. Let's see, or maybe we make this the... Now I need more room for the gems. So we could say that this one is the metal. Should be molded metal, right? Metal band. There it is. I can type. Okay, so this is metal bands. So our staff, our employees will place metal bands here. And then here... It is the uncut gems expensive. Okay. So from this side, we have, these extra conveyor belts and stuff. I'm not sure if we're really going to use them, but I'm just trying to get some extra space, I suppose. And we have these consumer goods assembly machine. This will be at the very end of whatever assembly line we're going to do. Output station is also at the very end of whatever we're doing here. And the person has to stand, looks like they're going to stand there. Okay. Okay. So next is going to be the laser cutting machine. Ooh, So the uncut gems, it doesn't look like I can turn that. Oh, interesting. So I can't mirror it or anything. So it's going to have to just be like this. So we're going to place that here. Okay. Can I? I'm curious. No, it still stops the music even with my headphones on with this. Okay. Just wasn't curious. All right, I'm just curious about it. Okay, so polishing machine is next. So we cut them, then we polish them. Okay. And then they get put into that machine here. Okay. There we go. So this comes down and ends up being like here or something. If I can get myself out of the way. Get your body out of the way. There you go. So about like that. All right. And then the metal gets thrown directly in here. So what we could do is because that's the case, I could put the metal, I could put the input machine for that like right over here instead. And then I can kind of move this stuff up a little bit. It doesn't really matter, but I can move it up a little bit. So I could stick this here. This is going to cut gems expensive. Okay. So we cut it there. And then it gets fed into the polishing machine there, let's say. Okay. And then we're going to move this back a little bit. Yep. There we go. And then you are going to go like that. I think. Maybe it's like that. Yeah. So we end up going like that. So now what we'll have is the metal bands will get sent into here. And the uncut gems will go through the laser cutting process, then the polishing, and then it gets assembled into the jewelry, which then gets kicked out there. So the jewelry will pop out at the end of this. And then an employee will take it over to the pallet shelf. And that's where it gets loaded into the trucks later. Okay. And then the only thing there's left over here is, I guess, is extra conveyor belts, which, you know, like I said, I didn't think we were going to need to use that many of them, but, you know, here we are. If I had anything else to mix into this, I could input it right there. But this is a fairly straightforward process with 2 employees just doing this. And I think I could even make this even more compact if I wanted to. All I'd need is, like, I'm going to move the pallet shelves over here, for example. And if I wanted to make this even more compact, I could take all of this and bring it down maybe to where it ends here. Maybe it ends like right here, right? Output comes right to the shelf. And so if I wanted to, I could say, or have more room for expansion. Maybe the volume of production, maybe our, the amount that we're making is too low, right? So we want to increase the amount. We're going to have to increase production at some point. So we're going to want to bring this over, I guess, this far. Trying to line it up with that there. And then we put this right here. There we go. And then we have this slam into there. You can come over and be like that. Yep. I don't even know. We may not even need these conveyor belts. I could probably just do without them, you know? There we go. And then I can't fit it there, but I could fit him here. Right? So this is where I could maybe use those conveyor belts. Maybe this one here doesn't need to be there. Maybe I could have it be like that. And then this one doesn't need to be there. I can have it be like that. But if that's the case, then I'm moving everything anyway. Everything slides up anyway. Need to move this back now. Yep. So make this even more compact that direction. One more. Like that. Yep. And there we go. So this is one. And then we just repeat this over and over and over again with a whole bunch of lines. Now, you don't necessarily need to do that, right? This is not programmed. The way this is built is not to scale, because we don't need an input station for every single iteration of this, right? We just need an input station to put that resource on the belts. This is where we start splitting them and have multiple laser cutters going at once, right? Multiple polishing stations going at once. And we'd have it all. I don't know what the output, I don't know what the capacity is of the input station. If there's employees are putting like 1 a minute on here, or 2 a minute on here, or 5, I don't know. So we can tweak that. But the point is, this input station here, we could probably have it be somewhere else so that it can feed multiples of these. Because I bet you the speed this operates in is very slow compared to what this is capable of inputting, right? So we would have multiples of that. But we can always move the machines around later. That's just an example of how we could make this more compact for the future. So that's a factory that is configured to work exactly as we want it to, right? This is a factory that's essentially done being configured. And so all we need now are the resources, which happens on Monday. I can't get the resources until that week. So what I might do, if I have the money to do so, is I might bring in more. Let's see. Maritime Freight Line, we're bringing in 219,000. We already have... I mean, Bluestone is always a huge import here, but it's right here. Cheap. It's currently in back order. Empty stocks should be expected. Jewelry, cheap, right? Back order. That's what this is doing. We're making ourselves more resilient to that. But I'm only doing it with the expensive. So I could look into doing it with the cheap ones too. They're 39 a pop right here, right? So if I wanted to, I could say, okay, yes, Luxman, we want to bring in the uncut cheap gems too. Let's bring in like 5,000 of them. All right. And now we have a huge order, but at least we have this. And we already have the metal bands. We're already bringing that in. So instead of 500 of these, maybe we bring in, 6,000 of them, and, or even more. We could bring in like 25,000 of them because they're very cheap anyway. So it doesn't really add a whole lot to the cost, but we can have a whole lot in stock. And that way, when these are back ordered, we can still make them ourselves and put them in our stores when everyone else cannot. And then we get the big business because we're the only ones in town that have them, right? That's what the factory really is for. It's creating that kind of resilience, the independence of it, if you will. So, but in order to really do that, I mean, I'd have to switch my entire production line, which is very easy to do in this case because the two things we're making, I think the process is the same for both of them. If I go with jewelry, the cheap recipe is the same. Metal band and uncut gems. So all I have to do is I make my expensive ones and I get an inventory. And then all I have to do is come over here and say, okay, wait a minute. You're not the uncut. You're not the expensive. You're not this anymore, right? We're going to do this one instead. And all of a sudden now I'm cutting the cheap ones, polishing the cheap ones, making cheap jewelry, right? And we're just kicking out something in the same production line. But I wouldn't be able to change this to anything else. It's purely for jewelry. So that is the $1 million expansion. Hope you enjoyed that. We are spending money like crazy now, and I still owe taxes, so I need to be very careful on how much money I'm spending over the next 10 days. I went on a huge spending spree just now, so it's time to take it easy, all right? Time to cool it for a little bit, and just kind of let the money build up so I can pay my taxes. It shouldn't take long, all right? It should. I should have the money. I made $219,000 yesterday with the jewelry store and stuff up and running, so it shouldn't take too long. I might as well just fix the truck. I've been hitting things. It happens. Here we go. Just fix it. There we go. So $714,000. I think in about 3 days tops, I will have enough money to pay my entire tax bill. That brings me to Saturday, which the IRS is not even open on the weekends, I don't think. Let me double check. Are you open, IRS? Where are you? Oops. All right, so Internal Revenue Service is this big building right here, and they are not open on the weekends. Yeah, so I have accumulate my money for today, build it up through the weekend, do the big order on Monday, and then I'll only have, I have to pay it by Friday, basically. So it's going to be tight, but I think we can do it. If I just take it easy and, decide not to acquire any more businesses, don't add any more factory capacity at the moment, should be in good shape. So that'll be it. Thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate you. I'm going to let this run for a few days, and we'll see what happens in the next video, okay? Bye-bye.